Well, welcome back to the Ohio Valley Conference Media Day. We're live in Evansville at the DoubleTree Hotel across the street, the Ford Center, where Brad Korn wants to cut down nets in a couple of months, about 6 months. We have the Southeast Missouri contingent with us, Brad Korn and Brendan Terry. Appreciate you guys joining us today. You and I talked a couple of weeks ago about your team. This kind of an event kind of maybe kicks off the season a little bit. How valuable is it to have kind of this time with all these other coaches, players, and getting ready for the year?
Well, I think as coaches, of course, we're always kind of like,
you'd rather be in Cape Girardeau practicing.
Let's practice. Yeah. Let's get to some games. But I think it's good. I think it's good for the student athletes as well to just get out and mingle and talk to people face to face, answer questions, talk about their team, not just themselves and this culture that we're in. So I think even though it may seem like a little bit mundane, I think it's important and serves a purpose. And I think all in all, people do a great job with it.
Returning all-conference player, Brendan. Why number 15?
When I was younger, about high school sophomore year, I just had to pick a new number, and I saw a documentary about Vince Carter, so Vinsanity, and I wanted to kind of be like him, so pick number 15.
That's not a bad spot to go for. And I read somewhere, were you a big-time baseball player? Are you paying attention to the playoffs right now?
Yeah, big Dodger fan. Happy about the win last night.
There you go.
Excited to see him in the World Series back-to-back.
Brad, talk about your team. You've got a significant number of guys back, but you've got newcomers. Talk about just the blending process and where we are today.
Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot. I think everybody's at that point, whether you're SEMO returners or whether you're a bunch of new guys in Southern Indiana, you're ready to play somebody else. It's about that time of the season where everybody's tired of one another. Everybody knows everybody's plays and can't get catches, and so then it looks messy. So then you're sitting there as a coach, are we good offensively or are we good defensively? So I think we're in that battle right now. So this
I know you're going to be good defensively.
Yeah, we were from the three-point line a year ago. We can be better defensively, rebounding-wise. We were small, though, but that played into what made us good offensively.
Sure.
So it's always a give and take with basketball, offense, defense. So, but I think in that blending process, we're in a good spot right now. I think we're coming into it, Harry, with the guys coming back. You're a little bit concerned. How are they going to respond? How are they going to come back to the team? What's the attitude going to be? And I've been very, very pleased to this point with the way that we've approached it, the work ethic that we put into it, the attitudes that the guys have, and then we'll really find out when you get that adversity what your team and your fabric really is made of. So until we get to that point, pleased, but never overly pleased as a coach.
You come back, like I said, I started off talking about you're an all-conference guy. Your team won the conference championship, regular season championship last year. What kind of leadership role do you have to take on this year that maybe is the same as last year or maybe different?
Honestly, our team has been put together really nicely where it's not just one guy has to just do it and just be the one sole leader. We got a lot of leaders like between myself, BJ Ward, Braxton Stacker, and just dudes like even like Dave Idata, who's just been here for 4 years. So for me personally, it's kind of just what can I do to help our team, whether it's just, trying to be engaged in practice every single day or just kind of like helping young dudes out like Trace Sadler and just kind of tell him, like just show him the ropes a little bit. But it's not always the same every day. It kind of just differs and just depends on what the team needs.
And you were an important rebounder last year, and you will be this year. But you've got some like big dudes on this team. Like maybe you won't have to grab as many of them.
Well, I'm hoping to grab more this upcoming year, honestly. But it's definitely nice having a bunch of 7-foot dudes running around and honestly, because we're one of like 2 or 3 teams in the OVC that got multiple 7-footers, so it definitely shows like just how tough it is in practice just to get a shot off for dudes coming down the lane, and just trying to rebound with Dave Idata is probably the hardest thing I'll ever have to do.
Talk about the use of the size that you guys have. Obviously, you're not scrapping your whole offensive system, or maybe you are. Maybe I'm silly, but you do have a lot of size, and how do you utilize that?
Yeah, I think the thing with the size is we talk about the 7-footers. The thing I love about Trey Sadler is he's a mobile 7-footer. Other than Lowndes is thin, but he has good timing on shot blocking. David Idata is more of a muscle, lower to the ground type of guy. So they all bring something a little bit different. But what I think that it does here is we do a lot of drills in transition because I think this team can be a really good transition team. We're really athletic. I think we have depth. In order to play on your depth, you have to expend a little bit more energy, so guys get a little bit more tired. But what it does now is when you do create some transition opportunities and guards, whether you talk about the 7-footers, but it's also the guards learning how to finish at the rim. It's Brendan learning angles around the rim. anybody really. It doesn't have to just be the rim is protected by the 7-footers. So you have to learn a different way. You have to learn angles. You have to learn when you're not open to kick, draw, kick. So I think without putting people in certain situations or saying it or showing it on film, you just naturally learn and feel that by playing. And I think that's something that's been a very positive for our group.
I've heard just rumblings around about Blocker. Talk to me about him.
He is by far the most athletic guy I've ever coached. That's saying a lot coming from the time at K-State. But I think his athleticism, but I think the knock on him coming out of high school and even in college a year ago at La Tech was he couldn't shoot. Well, the shot has gotten better. Braxton Stacker, for instance, when he coming out of high school, the knock on him was that he couldn't shoot, and he shot 42% from three last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our system is going to allow for him to have growth on the offensive side. But he's a really, really good ball handler, Harry, and he can pass. And so not only is he a great athlete, he'll do some highlight stuff that's just out of this world. It really is. But he's one piece away from being a truly complete player. He's very good defensively, ton of energy, but he is by far the most athletic guy I've ever coached.
Wow. Talk about the personality of this team. What's this team like to be around, and what do they like to do, or what is the feel around this team?
It's pretty fun. It's pretty energetic. I mean, I don't think we have anyone that's ever too quiet. I mean, sometimes, everyone's different personalities. You have 14 dudes, but I feel like everyone's pretty talkative and just high energy, just love making jokes, love the camaraderie, and it's kind of just like that,
And for people that haven't seen you play, talk about your style. What are they going to see when they see you play?
Honestly, I feel like it's hard to put in words.
He's laughing. I don't understand.
I don't know what kind of answers coming.
I don't know what answer's coming either. We're going with the flow, but I feel like that's kind of my game. It's just I feel like it differs game to game, honestly. Like it'd be one game where I'll do a lot of back to the basket and just try to dominate on switches and stuff like that. And then there'll be other games where if I'm playing bigger dudes, I'll just more naturally want to get to the perimeter and just use my quickness and kind of get around them offensively. And defensively, it's kind of just I try to be as versatile as possible. While I think it's kind of impossible that anyone to guard truly 1 through 5 at an elite level for every position. I think for college-wise, I'm as close as it kind of gets, where I feel like you put me on any dude for a couple possessions, I can handle it. So I feel like that speaks a lot to my game.
You and I talked about your schedule a couple of weeks ago. When you're putting together a schedule, obviously there's all kinds of things going on. You got to make some money. You have to, do some different things. What goes into that beyond that, though, is like you wanting to get someplace where maybe your kids are from, they could go closer to home, or, man, I definitely want to get in a big-time experience so they have that big-time experience. Talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. We've always done that since I've been here. Going back a few years, we had Nate Johnson, who was a center on our team. He's from Florida. We played South Florida. A lot of our roster, they can get to OVC games. So it's in that non-con. People like Brendan, who's from California. We got out to Arizona this year. We tried to get a West Coast game. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. I think that's something you can do for your program. It speaks to the program and how you run your program. It's something I learned from Coach Weber. He always did that with players on our team. Not everybody has the ability to get to games to see you play if you go far away from home, and everything's on TV nowadays. But for your people to see you in live action and have other people too, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents come. Your parents can probably get there, your close relatives, but what about that secondary family? So to be able to have people come and see and play, I think that's important. I think that's a life memory. I think there's some other things that we can do outside of just winning basketball games and losing basketball games is to do those types of experiences. So we have that unique opportunity. And then this year with SLU and Mizzou, you can't pass up on those types of games, just being in state. I think that's great for the state. I think it's great for our alumni, their alumni, to have an in-state, not rivalry, but a game, especially to kick off the first week of the season. So we really couldn't have drawn it up any better. It's a really challenging non-con. Brendan and I were talking about that on the way up here last night. But again, I think every year is different. And with the roster that we have and the experience that we had, I felt we needed to challenge ourselves in the non-con. These guys have been through the wars. We have 9 4-year plus guys on our roster. So to me, it was kind of one of those opportunities that, hey, you know what? Let's challenge ourselves and see how good we can make ourselves in the non-con so that we can be overly prepared for the conference.
A lot of guys back, some new people. At the end of the year, we're going to be talking about a Red Hawk player that we're not talking about right now. Who would that be?
Someone that we're not talking about is probably going to be Luke. I think. I mean, he can shoot the ball really, really well. And he got that surprise athleticism where if he was walking on the street, you might think he's homeless. And then you're gonna see him play, and then you're gonna be all like, he should be in the league. So
I'm going to remember that. I'll remember that part for sure coming away from Evansville. The when you guys are piecing it all together right now, are you close to a 5 to an 8? You know, you're starting 5, you're 8 or 9. How close are you to that?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close, especially with the returning guys. I think it makes my job a little bit easier. You're going to tend to always err on the side of returning guys just because of terminologies and the wars that they've been in together. But again, quite honestly, I told our guys yesterday after practice, I truly don't feel, and that goes to Trace Sadler, who's a freshman center, PJ Farmer, who's a freshman guard, Jay Reynolds, who's a freshman guard. I really wouldn't feel bad about putting anybody on the roster in a game.
Terrific.
Now, are they going to make mistakes? Of course, that's not what I'm saying. And how much time? But there's been past years where it's like, well, I know that guy's not playing. Sure, he's not ready to check.
Ready to do it.
So, and again, in order to do that, we're going to have to expend a whole lot more energy. So I envision our team, we've been doing it in practice. I don't even know if our players realize it yet, but we're going to be a lot more up-tempo, both sides of the ball. We've been an up-tempo team offensively in the past, but in order to play the depth, I think that's going to be one of our best things, our depth and our athleticism. And in order to do that, we're going to have to expend a lot of energy, and that's how I see us playing. And so the 5, the 8, of course, you're always going to have the guys that have the majority and the lion's share of the minutes, and I think that will settle itself out. But I want to try to develop and play a lot of our roster and our bench early in the season, and then it will sort itself out a little bit, so to speak. But a lot of that too, and that's what is good about having a good roster and talented players, is if you turn the ball over all the time, if you're shooting a poor percentage, there's going to be a lot of factors that I'm not going to have to say that is going to be shown right in front of you that is going to help dictate that 5 to 8 anyway. They get the lion's share of those minutes.
Appreciate your time there to the defending regular season champs. The SEMO Redhawks should be another great year. Thanks for watching. We'll be up with the Tennessee State folks in just a minute. You're watching the OVC Media Day right here from Evansville.